I would be among the first to admit that we made mistakes in government. I will be among the first to admit that there was corruption within previous Antigua Labour Party administrations. But I have to admit that the corruption that exists today under the UPP regime makes corruption under the previous ALP administration child's play, my dear people.
I mean, this thing is explosive.
There will be no job losses under the Labour Party administration.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance,
I now turn to the water shortage that has plagued this country for some time. And I say to you tonight that leadership matters. I say to you tonight that the water shortage that our people have been experiencing is an issue that belongs to a different age. And I say too that we have made positive steps in order to resolve the water problem. And I guarantee you that within 14 days, there will be increased water supply in this country.
Let's face the music and dance.
The cornerstone of our general election campaign was the provision of affordable housing. Indeed, we promised 500 homes in 500 days. And we said to you that you would have gotten 500 homes in 500 days. Those with little or no vision said that it could not be done. Well, as your Prime Minister, I say to you that it can be done and that it shall be done.
Let's face the music and dance. Let's face the music and dance.
I mean, this thing is explosive.
This is True Labor Talks with your host, the executive of the Antigua Barbuda True Labor Party.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. True Labor Talks here. I'm Veer Cornwall Bird III, chairman of the Antigua Barbuda True Labor Party, and the co-host is Lionel Nelbel, the first vice chair. It's a pleasure to be with you again this week, and we have so many issues that we want to bring to you, and we have an hour to do it in. Well, it's been a very explosive week in politics in Antigua and Barbuda. I believe what has happened is that the electorate realized that all is not well with the Antigua Barbuda Corrupt Labour Party in regards to them holding fair and free democratic primaries. But we're going to go first into where we usually start, the campaign in St. John's Rural South. Nedwell, you want to have anything to say? Say hello to the public.
Yes, good afternoon to the general public, our listeners. Glad to be here with you again today. As the host has been telling you, there are a number of topics that we have to touch within an hour, and we'll be happy to do that to keep you informed of what's really going on in this country of ours. It's a dismal situation within the democratic processes, how we are accustomed for it to supposed to be, in terms of primaries and stuff like that. Things like that are not really happening at this time, but we'll be keeping you informed and let you know exactly what's going on with this.
Yeah, well, we're campaigning this week in St. John's Rural South. The constituency that I wish to, and hopefully will be able, given the chance to they elect me to represent. We saw a very disturbing sight. No, I'm not going to call the name of the road where I was campaigning, because you don't want to offend the individuals. But it was a sanitation, it was a health hazard. We saw several houses that we campaigned or canvassed that house-to-house campaign where the raw sewage was coming out from the house into the gutter. I mean, they had pipes right there leading down to the gutter. And it was a terrible sight, and even worse, scent that we experienced. And the individuals that we were campaigning by, I mean, they were talking to us like if they didn't smell how bad it was. You know, we're not going to humiliate or ridicule any individual. But I did not believe such conditions existed in St. John's Rural South any longer. I know since I have known myself and aware of a constituency called St. John's Rural South and Lower Otters, that in the past, I'm a child of the 70s, and I do remember that condition in the past, which was fairly common. But to see that in the 21st century, 2017, this week on the campaign trail was very shocking. It's just disturbing to see that in not the heart of St. John's, but the southern part of St. John's City, that is the human condition. And it wasn't only one house. It was, from what we recall, it was about 4 houses on one street. You know, Nedwell, what do you have to say about that, Nedwell?
Well, as you said, it was disturbing. We went and we were campaigning, and we stopped at this first house. And the stench, you know, you drew to my attention that, what's going on here? But then I remember that not very long back, too, while we were on one of those streets down there selling clothes, because, you know, we normally sell from Bend Down and other places, you know, we go and sell some clothes, fundraising and stuff like that. And we were selling down there, and a stench was coming. You know, we were wondering what the heck, but you could have seen that the stench was coming from directly from the sewer, you know, like the septic tank or directly from the septic bowl or whatever it was. But then we saw exactly what it was, because we saw the pipe leading from the house directly to the sewer, and the sewer wasn't even that, you know, it wasn't even. I really don't understand what's going on in Antigua here, because we have the Minister of Works, who is the representative of that constituency, and we have seen some sewers where they're, you know, it's totally out of line with what sewer is supposed to be, and that filth was running out of the house directly into the sewer, what was supposed to be the sewer, and then it all just clogged up right there, because it become like a little puddle, because the sewer wasn't even running properly anyway. So the whole thing is just filth, a lot of filth that goes on, and a lot of germs that can be circulating from that. Because we actually know that when you use your toilet, it's supposed to run into a septic tank, then into a soakaway, and then into the sewer. But it wasn't like this at all, Via. It was like it was coming directly from the septic tank. So, Via, it's a horrible situation, whereas you have the person in charge not really looking into these particular areas to see what's needed in the community. And then you have the persons who are in charge of that person, who are not even looking to make sure that Antigua is being run properly. So, you know, it's a horrible situation, whereas the people, you know, they're trying their best, because economically we see how Antigua is right now. And I gather that's the best they could do, because of their economic condition.
Circumstances.
Their circumstances, you know, have them living like this. And there's nobody paying attention. You know, so if we didn't go there and pick up on this, we wouldn't even know that these things exist in Antigua. We think that Antigua is running fairly decent, fairly good, but it's not so at all there. We saw it firsthand that, you know, there's a lot of filth, people living in dilapidated conditions. There was one gentleman that we spoke to, that the stuff that didn't even run to the drainage. It went directly in his yard and then just spread out in his yard. The yard turned green and black. It's an awful condition there, and something needs to be done. The person in charge needs to make sure that his constituency is being, intact, running properly, and all this. The necessary things are in place, and all this. And this is not done there. This is like the Wild Wild West. Anything goes.
That was one of the basic things that ought to have been done.
Yes.
Because you have a representative who is over public works.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even see a proper sidewalk, much less gutter.
Yeah, the drainage was awful.
Yeah,
that whole puddle. Because after the water, and whatever came out with the water, went into the so-called drainage, it just sat there. A bunch of it just sat there, a little one off, but it's not much because the drainage isn't properly set up. If you notice that the back of the drainage is broken off, and and nobody is doing anything, to rectify the situation there. It needs to be, look. The concerns of this community need to be taken serious, and there is nobody that is seriously concerned about this community except us that's going around and recognizing that what's going on and the filth and all this. And we'll come on the podcast, or we'll go on the radio and talk about it. We'll write a couple of letters to people to let them know, the person is in charge, to let them know what we observe and stuff like that. But different than that, nobody is saying anything. There is no one.
Nobody could care less.
They're not concerned about this.
And sadly enough, it's some of that has to do with even the constituents. The
exactly.
They could care less of what is going on.
Oh man.
Nedwell, that is a concern, right?
Absolutely.
And you see that the neglect that has been meted out to the people in this constituency.
Oh yeah.
Some are still diehard and of the opinion that the Labour Party is the best choice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask them to take a look around their constituency and look at all the galvanized and all the unemployment and all the people who they're staying at home.
That's right.
It is normal for grown men and women now leave school just to be walking around in the constituency because they don't have access to jobs.
That's true.
That's true. And then you see that, and then it's compounded with the health hazards that we saw not only this week in Lower Otters, but in addition to that, we saw the Golden Grove Community Center.
That's
which
right.
is just horrible until we saw this height.
But there's
at least in the Golden Grove Community Center, is you choose to go in there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a functioning center. It's just a hall of a building.
Yeah.
But this one was right where people live, man, and I'm telling you,
I
was so shocked. I'm disheartened by what I see. And I'm just asking the people of this constituency to give me the opportunity for me to try and do something to better your life.
Absolutely.
Because nobody's supposed to be living like that.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's supposed to be living like that and amongst that sort of filth.
But there's another question that you have to ask the people there. If this is the way that they had decided that they wanted to live. Because after you go and you set up yourself to live a life, you have to have something in mind where you want to be at a particular time and all that, in your life and all this. And we want to know if this is what you had decided on. It couldn't be this way because this is awful. And you have children within the area. Because sometimes you have kids come out and be kicking the balls in the street and stuff like that. Next thing, the ball go into the drainage. You know what that is? Fear. This is absolute filth.
Yeah.
Absolute.
So disappointing. So
oh yes,
sad.
It's horrible.
But then I would like to just. You remember we were supposed to read the letter. We said we were going to read.
Oh
the
yes,
letter
you said you were going to read that letter. Yeah.
Center. 2 weeks ago, I think we went into the Golden Grove Community Center and saw people defecating, urinating, or we didn't see it actually, but we saw the end result. And based on that alone, I needed to address the issue as somebody that is concerned with the communities of Nut Grove and Golden Grove. I drafted a letter, I passed it to the party, ready to the party members at a general meeting. And we sent the letter off to Lionel Michael, the
Chief Health
Inspector down in All Saints Road. So I just want to read the letter to you and tell you what the result has been. I'm reading it from my phone because we didn't print it out because we did. I just remembered after we started the podcast. But it's a letter dated 20th November 2017. Mr. Lionel Michael, Chief Health Inspector, Central Board of Health, Lower All Saints Road, St. John's, Antigua. Dear Sir, Golden Grove Community Center, I write to you as the True Labour Party's caretaker for the St. John's Rural South constituency. I wish to draw your attention to the potential health hazard that the unfinished community center now poses to the communities of Nut Grove and Golden Grove, and in particular to the children that actually play in the structure. On visiting the community center on the 17th of November 2017, I saw one of the rooms on the northern side being used as a public latrine. There was a scent of urine and the sight of feces and used toilet paper scattered throughout the room. In some instances, individuals appeared to be using cardboard to clean themselves after defecating. On earlier visits I made to the community center, last being in April 2017, I saw, besides the general filthy and unhealthy state in which the structure was kept, a discarded panty and used condoms on the ground, in addition to nickel bags which I suspect were part of illegal drug activity. I'm kindly asking that you make a site inspection and take some form of action to safeguard the health of the people in the community and those that may be using the facility and or play field. On making my political organization aware of the state of the Golden Grove Community Center, the True Labour Party will be willing to donate the plywood and nails to bar up the community center with the proper authorities' approval until a final solution is made concerning this potential health hazard. I have enclosed 3 pictures that I took whilst visiting the community center, and I look forward to assisting in any way possible to resolve this problem. Yours truly, Mayor Cornwall Bird III, Chairman. Carbon copy to Eustace Tico Lake, Minister of Public Works, Parliamentary Representative for St. John's Rural South. Yes, and I wrote that letter and I got it off to the Chief Health Inspector. Unfortunately, he was on vacation. It sounds like if he's going to retire soon. So they directed me to the Deputy Chief Inspector. I think it's Miss Martin, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, I think that's
anyway, she did call me. I called her back or whatever, and she did say they were going to get back to me after they run the inspection. A day or two later, I heard from a Miss Mason who said they had difficulties to locate where I was referring to. So I gave her the directions and told her to go straight up south from Tyndall Road, cross over Kentish Road, Valley Road, and straight up towards Nutgrove Hill, and about 30 feet
from the
after
corner.
that, you will see on the left-hand side what I'm referring to, because she said that she had asked people in the area what is the Golden Grove Community Center. But if you read what I read in my letter, I'm saying the unfinished building. So I never told her that it was a finished product.
Right.
I said it was an unfinished building, so I don't know what difficulty they had if they asked around in that community how they're going to have a hard time to find it. But anyway, she was pleading ignorance. And she said, oh yes, we did see that structure. And then she asked me, what do I want to do about it? What do I want them to do? I said, but this is a health hazard. You're having people defecate there. You're having people using the building. There are no doors. There are no windows. So what can you do to avoid that? We have already asked, we will provide the plywood and the nails to bar it up. But we need the authority of the government. She said, well, who owns the building? I said, well, I don't know. I believe it is publicly owned. I believe it's the government's property. It's a public playing field, so I believe it's the government. But she was asking all these questions before she get to the site and see the problem. And then she does her investigation.
I know, it's exactly
so she said, well, it's not a finished building, so nobody is inhabiting it. I said, I never said it was a dwelling house, I said that it was supposed to be a community center. So you're not finding people living in it, but you do find people going in there. There's a gentleman, Faithful.
Yeah, that does karate.
Calypsonian. He has karate classes that he conducts in there. So I mentioned all of that to her, and she said she would get back to me. So this was early last week, the week beginning what? Last week was what? The week of the
26th.
27th,
yeah.
27th was the Monday, sometime later.
Yeah.
So we want to give them some time. I don't want to press the issue with them any further. I'm giving them an additional time before I really start to go nuclear on them or on the government for what is happening there. In addition to that, it appears that if she was asking me what do I want them to do, but I'm telling, well, do something to avoid people getting sick. I can't believe she asked me that question.
That's true.
But anyway, that's bureaucracy, you know. Yeah.
You know, it's representation, because you're not even in government, and look what you're doing. You're just seeing these problems and you're tackling these problems from the outside of government. And that's unheard of, because the persons who are in government, they're not even noticing that these things are happening. You know, you have the Minister of Works, who is a representative of that constituency, who, with a couple of words, who could have got that building finished, because he's in charge. He's actually in charge of what's going on there, and he had promised that the building was going to be, you know, finished under his watch, and it never happened. Now, you know, we went through a couple of times, we saw what we saw, and we decided to deal with the problem. It's a problem, and it has to be dealt with. So then, you know, it goes to show you, Veer, that what representation is supposed to be, and means we see that people can get sick from what's going on in that building. And the very next day, the first thing that we did was to contact the persons in charge of dealing with that sort of what's going on.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right. And do what we are supposed to do. But amazingly, you have a representative for months, years, and these things are happening, and nothing is being said. Not a thing is being said. So he promised that. Yeah, he promised.
If I can find it.
Yeah.
1 second. This is Eustace Lake, and I believe this is the 2014 election, where he said he was going to finish the Golden Grove Community Center. Bear with me, I didn't even find the clip first.
Yes,
this is the one that we'll play the second one. You definitely do have it though.
Yeah, this
Whilst
is
you
an awful
continue to look at
situation.
playing fields around the country, they're none, I don't even know, they're not even complete. We have $1.4 million erect structure down in Golden Grove School Park. It shrunk the size of the park. So now the children over there don't even want to play football there. Spliff, who practices over there, cannot practice properly over there. And the building is incomplete. That's what they've done to our country.
All right.
Yeah. He recognized that the building is
Recognize that
incomplete.
there's a problem.
Yes.
What are you going to do about it?
Not a thing was done.
Right, this is this one.
I remember when I went through the constituency, I saw young men standing up in the corner. And when I say young, I mean young. Many of them are not in school anymore. Here's what your future looks like.
Okay.
We're going to take that $1.4 billion building. We're going to finish it. We're going to give you an opportunity to get back to school, and we'll have an after-school program for our youth. We need to increase our passing grade in school. We need to get our education back.
All right. So he saw the problem, and he told you what the solution was. We're going to finish that community
That's
center.
right. He said he was.
And that was 2014. And it's now the end of 2017.
And nothing happened.
So it's approaching 4 years
Yeah.
since he saw the problem and he was supposed to correct the issue.
Yeah.
You understand?
He made a promise. He promised. But you see, this is the whole thing there. All these guys get so accustomed to promise the people things and don't deliver that it's nothing for him to just go out there and promise, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And as you said, 3 years later, 3 years down the road, there is nothing happening.
But listen to what Tico says. This is what his response to you, I suppose. This is what he will tell you, all the electors in the constituency.
We will make sure that you get back to work. We will find the money wherever it is and get the job done.
God Almighty. You
get
hear
the
this
job
guy?
done.
You hear this guy? Yes, yes.
And get you back to
Wherever
work and
it
get
is,
the
they're
job
going
done.
to find the money. And 3 years later, they're still looking.
We have
Yeah.
done more than they think we have done. I don't go around and brag about the things I've done because that's not my job. My job is to get it done. And so I do get it done. And I can prove it every time.
All right.
Well,
Do get it done.
Look at
and he can
Golden
prove
Grove
it every
Community
time.
Center. Let
So
him
he
prove.
can prove.
Yeah, the community center. Just prove that he got it done. Because in his own words, he told you he recognized that there's a problem. There's an unfinished building that ran into $1.4 million. And then they're going to finish the building and all this. And now he's telling you that he can prove, after looking at that building, which was about 2 weeks ago, that we went out there and we saw what we saw. So I have no idea what Tico is driving at. Tico, this guy is, it is a horrible situation how these guys represent people in this island of Antigua there. We need a different sense of representation there. We spoke of what happened when we went campaigning. We spoke of what we saw. We spoke of that the drainage was so awful. We have filth running directly from the house into the drain. That was supposed to be into a sewer. It's supposed to run through a soakaway. That is not happening. Some of it that doesn't even reach the drainage. It's in the yard, the person's yard. And we have, and we have people saying that they are the representative.
And they can get the job
and they can boast on how they handled it. What is this weird? These guys, it's like a con artist game. These guys are just conning. He's a con man. Yeah, he's just conning the people, and I expect that next time round the people will just do the same thing. But again, you see, the people has a little bit of blame in this as well there. Because things have been happening to them time and time again, and because of some little handout or some little something, you go down the same road.
Loyalty, misplaced loyalty.
Misplaced
loyalty.
loyalty.
You have to
That's
stay with
the
a party.
What the heck
hasn't
is
done
that?
anything for you.
Nothing for you. There is nothing. And that question that I told you that needed was to be asked: is this the way you had decided to live when you left school, or even later on when you're planning your life to see where you want to be at a certain time in your life? It couldn't be there. This is just so horrible. This is a horrible situation there, and it needs to be looked into. And it doesn't seem as if anybody intends to look into it until we get into position to do something about it.
Yeah, well, I just want the electorate to also realize in St. John's Road South that the Labour Party is supposed to be holding primaries according to the Constitution.
Oh.
But from what I'm hearing, that the choice has been made for the people in St. John's Road South, and the candidate is Darrell Matthew. Without any primary, without any polling, the Prime Minister, Gaston Brown, has chosen Darrell Matthew to be the candidate. The choices that the party had out there was Sharon Kentish and Clint Gilpin, but it seemed that they have been relegated to the back of the bus. One of the reasons we're hearing is that they're saying that that they don't have wealth, they're not rich enough to run, and Darrell Matthew has his money. We refer to him from here on out as Comrade UPP. As you know, he just left the UPP about a minute or two ago. He's come over to the Labour Party and is now being parachuted in as the candidate. So the Prime Minister has really placed his bets for the party in a day-old ALP comrade.
That's right.
He has been UPP all his life, and now he's crossed the aisle or jumped ship, and now wants to represent the Antigua Labour Party and the people of St. John's Road South. Welcome ashore, Comrade UPP.
Comrade UPP.
Darrell Matthew, it's going to be a pleasure facing you at this coming election. I do, what's the word? My condolences go to Sharon, Kentish, and
Clint
Gilpin on the passing of their political careers. You know, friends, I said too numerous to mention. You know what is it? Is the death announcement?
It is. Hey, man, it's just so sickening. You know, to see how the democracy has gone to you know, it's out of hand. We just finished. I am very particular about this because I was in the Marine Corps, the United States Marine Corps. I fought for democracy here. I don't play with that. Freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom. It's all about that there. And when somebody is going to take it into their hands to threaten the democracy process, the democratic process, you know, it's sacred to me there because I fought for that.
I understand.
And this is something that I will love to see that it's implemented in the proper way and stuff like that. And it's such an easy deal to do unless you're being some sort of low-lifed or vindictive or whatever you know want to call yourself. It's an easy thing because it's, you know, it makes sure that everybody get their fair share. That's what democracy is all about. It's a fair share for each and every one. And not two different set of laws or two different set of how justice is being meted out. Or it's not supposed to be like that there. It's a democratic process. And the primary is a democratic that's supposed to be, this is how things are supposed to go within the political system. Yeah. But it didn't go like that at all. We have a prime minister that feel that, you know, that he can say this and this is what it's supposed to be and all that. And it's not supposed to be like that there. And people have to take this quite serious because you start here, but you end up over there. And when you get over there, it can be certainly out of hand. You know that you can't do nothing about, and then now is the time that you need to speak out as a people and do something about what's going on. If you really treasure democracy and say, and to me, they're supposed to be doing that because I remember years gone back when they used to brand people communists, and I remember Tim Hector. Something that used to say he communist, and the people used to know, stay away from Tim.
You're one communist.
Yeah, you're communist, so stay away from him. You know, so how come, you know, you have these people with these communistic attitude and behavior, and you're behaving like it's all right? This is not how it works here. Democracy says that, look, within the primary, within you have a few people within a constituency that will like to run in an election. You should have a primary. And this is what it's supposed to be, and it's not happening that way there. We have people dictating who's of one, and because of whatever reason, he have more wealth than somebody else and all this. It's not supposed to be about that there. So I don't know what the people is going to do about what's happening. But I'm telling them that something needs to be done before it gets out of hand. Because when it gets out of hand and you start crying, you can't help yourself, and nobody can help you in those situations. Yeah. So.
Comrade UPP, Darrell Matthew is, I'm not a betting man, but I put a whole $1 that he will, I bet you $1 that he becomes the candidate.
Oh, yes.
No primary, no polling done. This is what y'all going to get to vote for. And what I'll say to the people of St. John's Rural South, the electorate, is that he may have the final say at the primary or the poll, or just putting up an individual in as the candidate. But you will have the final say
come election
at the
day.
General come election day.
Yes, that's
when
right.
it's time for you to vote, you realize what is taking place. And the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
Yeah, that's right.
Look at how he's acting now at the primary. Do you really want to continue having this man run this country in this fashion? That's the question I put out to the electorate in St. John's Rural South and into Antigua overall.
Yeah,
something needs to be done. And it's not only for the opposition parties to do something. It is in the hands of the people that have the power, the electorate, to address this issue on election day.
Yeah, but saying that,
yeah, go ahead.
Saying that, up to the opposition party, They're not doing anything anyway. They're not even speaking out about these things there.
No, we are.
Different than us getting on the podcast, and if you get that little time on the radio, because you see you're getting very little time. And when we go on our program on Variety Radio, that we get to speak out on these things. Different than that, it's like it's non-existent. Nobody's saying anything. It's like it's all right. We spoke of the filth earlier. We spoke of all this. Nobody, no opposition. Sometimes I wonder if there's an opposition party in Antigua different than us. Because nobody is saying, you're supposed to have the DNA, you have the UPP as opposition parties. Have you heard anything from these people in regards to the filth?
The living condition in
And all that in regards within a community, in regards to how this man is behaving in a democratic society? Where you're not seeing none of that.
No, we're not.
I'm just wondering what is going on, man. What's really going on? Has life changed so drastic? I remember time gone back when, you have an issue and it's being picked up by the opposition and they run with it and they tell the people what can be done and all this. This is different than us, different than the True Labour Party. You are not hearing none of this thing there. And it's a horrible situation living in conditions like this. And, we need to do something. And we plan to do something.
They should do something. We're doing what we can at this point
We are doing as much as we can possibly do at this time. But we plan to rectify it all when we do get into power there.
There's so many concerns because what we heard this week was that it's not only in rural south, but also in rural east and rural west. Now they're supposed to be whole primaries according to the constitution, where basically we have more than one individual wants to be the candidate. You hold a primary, and we know that is Maria Bird Brown, Prime Minister's wife, wants to run in rural east, and Alicia Grant Williams, and down in rural west, it's about 2 to 3 people have come forward in the Antigua Labour Party want to challenge Londell Benjamin to be the candidate. And what we're hearing is that there will only be polling done in rural east and rural west. In regards to rural south, that's a done deal. They're not holding any primaries, they're not holding any polling. That's the end of the matter.
It's just crazy. It's
very much so. So, as I said, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. I was speaking to a comrade, not a true comrade, one of them that's still with the Corrupt Labour Party, and they're saying, how you feel about Maria Bird Brown, your cousin, running? I said she has a right, based on the Constitution of Antigua and Barbuda, to run. There's nothing, her last name doesn't bar her, or whose niece she is, or who's her father, or who her grandfather is. So I have no problem with her running. So I also said, the person said, yeah, okay, good, because, they're a supporter of hers. I said, but I would like to see the person who run have some experience in supporting the party, in the sense of have a history of picketing and marching and going out and speaking at public meetings and assisting the branches. The individual turned to me and told me, oh, yes, she was on the youth arm of the party and she did assist in one cleanup campaign.
Just imagine,
she assisted in a cleanup campaign.
Imagine.
So basically, if you join the Antigua Labour Party and you assist in cleaning up on one day some area, that should make you eligible to be the candidate, to be a member of parliament. I've never heard of such tosh. That's just absolute rubbish. What do you think of that, Nedwell?
This is as far as people go in Antigua to justify nonsense there. And to tell you something like that, you see, it's so hypocritical, because they have to know much better than what they're saying there. They must know much better than they're saying, to say that a person was involved in a cleanup campaign and they were part of the youth arm, and that's supposed to make them eligible to be the candidate for. When other people are waiting actually to run in the same constituency and would like to have a primary. That is what it's all about, you know.
But you have a fair chance.
Of course, each and every, as long as they're interested in running in that constituency, there should be a primary to see who the people wants to run in that constituency. And it is not like that there. They are just do as they like, and people try to justify the nonsense and all that good stuff. This is some crazy stuff that's going on in Antigua there. It's so hypocritical. And again, I have a friend there that normally comes by me every so often, and when we speak, and I will say to him, boy, these politicians have Antigua kind of how. And he keeps on telling me, no, my friend, it's not the politicians, it's the people. It's these people. He said, boy, I hate these people so much, the way how they go about, and they try to justify these things that the politicians. They say it's the people who run with it. The politicians may put it out there, but the people who run with it and try to justify it, even though it's not justifiable. And I was saying, well, look, is the person who put it out there in the first place is responsible for putting it. So we normally have this back and forth, conversation of who is really responsible for having Antigua like this.
Yeah.
And sometime when he leaves, I go back and think, I say, he's somehow right. These people, they just go out there and things happen to them time and time again, but it's like they don't care. So. In terms of, and another thing with that constituency up there, I think is Woolies, I think there was this gentleman that was a caretaker that was supposed to run. And then...
you're talking about Michael Freeland?
Yeah. Was he the caretaker?
He was just another candidate, a potential candidate.
Okay.
Wanted to run in the primary. He was showing interest.
Yeah, that's right.
From what I understand, he was actually doing some campaigning up there,
Okay, all right. So he was actually working. But then, to me, I've heard of some incident that happened with him after the Prime Minister wanted us to propel his wife into that position. Yeah. I never heard of that situation before, of what he spoke of, but what Mr. Freeland did or didn't do. And these things are so vindictive and so tricky, and so, this is not nice. But it goes to show you what the political system is like in Antigua, and we need to do something about it. We go out there and we try to let the people know, look, our intention is to put up a community center where you can come and have more say into your lives. Mm-hmm. You will come there and you will sit down and you will dictate some of the things that goes on within your life, within reason, of course, and not leaving up everything to the politician, because the politician is not looking out for the people. We see that. They're looking out for themselves and family. To propel your wife into a position, and there are other persons there waiting to fill that position, and the whole system says that there's supposed to be a process, a democratic process that will make this thing run right, and you're not following that process. It just goes to show you what the system and what the political system is like in Antigua.
Yeah, what it's been reduced to.
Oh, yes.
I don't know, you said it so well, Nedwell, what is happening in Antigua and Barbuda, more so the Antigua Corrupt Labour Party.
Oh, yes.
It is a concern not only for the labour rights, but I believe everybody, every elector needs to be concerned, because people have a right, even if you are a
not
UPP
belong
supporter,
to that party,
that when the time comes and you listen to all what is said and done throughout the campaign, to vote not UPP, you can vote ALP.
Yeah.
So it's a concern. Not only you can't say, "Oh, I am True Labour, I'm UPP, so good for them."
Matter to me. No.
Right? You may actually like the policies that the party is putting forward and say, "Okay, let me support that."
Yes.
It is a democracy we have here. So it's a concern for all electors, all Antiguans, the way our state of our democracy in one of the major parties in Antigua and Barbuda. It's pretty much not a democratic organization. It is not a meritocracy.
Yeah.
Because I used to hear them bragging about people put in effort and toil, and they're the ones who will be getting benefit. I don't see that happening.
No.
It's a lie. It's a sham.
Well, the only thing I see where is democracy is under threat. Is being threatened in Antigua right now, because the way that we are going, that one man feels that he can just say this, and that's what it is. You know, it shows that no, that the process is not a democratic process. The democratic process deals with numbers. The number, the amount of people that, you know, and the majority rules and all this. And no, this not. This is one man that he can say, look, this is what it is, and that's what it is. And no, we can't live with that way.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
the whole idea is for us to, as a political organization, is to inform the public of what is happening.
Of course.
And for them, if they're skeptical about what we're saying, go and ask. If you're a supporter of the party, go and ask. Go and ask Sharon Kentish. Go and ask Clint, Gilpin, what the situation is. Go and ask Maria Bird. Go and ask Alidsa Grant Williams. Go and ask Londell Benjamin. Go and ask Gail Christian and the two other potential candidates who have thrown their hat in the ring. Get informed. Don't just listen to our word as gospel, but go and ask questions.
Right.
You see them in the street, you see them in the road, you see them driving by.
Yep. Get
Wave
clarification.
to them, tell them to slow down, ask, inform yourself, hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yep.
Don't believe anybody else.
Right.
I went to a school in America, a high school. I went to the Beard Rustin High School for the Humanities. And I remember they had a lecturer come in, and it was this guy, Roy Consular. He was one of the most famous lawyers in America to this day. But at that point in time, it was his hot period, man. He was representing so many of the Black Power, Black Panther members and so on, because they were being oppressed by the state.
Oh, yes.
And he really chose a lot of people who were downtrodden by the system. I think he represented some Indians and some matter also, some Native American Indians.
Yeah.
But he was giving his speech, and I said, boy, this man sounds very articulate. But the part that really made my head pop up in attention, he said, when you're in a democracy, you as an elected, the most important thing you can do is always question authority. Always question them. When they say this is how it goes or this is what happened, question them when it doesn't sound right to you.
That's right.
You must question authority because you are the power. They are the servants. But if you don't know what the facts are, you may go and vote for something that isn't factual and detrimental to your democracy or your way of life.
Yeah, clarification is necessary there in terms of, you know, and you have these people that like nothing matters to them there. It's silly and it's horrible. Because then you have a situation where your livelihood is being threatened, your hardship in life and all this. And then you can just water it down because of allegiance or whatever. You know, it's nothing like that. You have kids coming up. And then in the future times, you can see what is destined for these kids. If this particular sort of behavior and attitude continues, when the time your kids and grandkids get to the age of voting and stuff like this, they may not even be able to vote. It might be something different. They might have no elections. More man make himself president for life or prime minister for life. He'll go to parliament and do some foolishness like that. And you, the people, have to make sure things like this don't happen by catching the situation and time. You know, it's like an ailment there. And the doctor will tell you, you know, quick detection is the best way to deal with ailments. You detect these things quickly and start dealing with them quickly. You don't let it fester and then go way down the road and all that. Next thing you know, by the time you're ready to tackle it. Where I have a brother who lost his sight, you know, not too long back, a younger brother of mine. And you know, it's so horrifying, and I'm so vexed with him to know that he had an eye problem. And he waited so long to go and deal with it that when I took him to deal with it, the Cuban doctor said, nothing we can do at this point, he's too far gone. And then the whole political process, to me, we can run into that situation where these guys do all these nonsense, the people don't say nothing until it gets so out of hand, then you can't do anything about this. what's going on with these people here? They people, the people. I love you dearly, people. I love Antigua, and this is why I'm speaking out like this.
Yeah.
You really don't deserve to live in this particular sort of condition. You know, we have fought. We have people that are ahead of us. We had the John Frenches and all these other different people who fought for a living for the people, a particular level of living. And these people now just take it so simple, like it's nothing. Where, no man, it's a horrible situation. Every time I go on the radio, I try to tell the people the power is in your hand to make Antigua better. And if you don't use and utilize that power, it's you. The fault is really on you. And my friend might be right. You know, I'm saying, look, it's a politician. And he's saying, no, it's the people. And this debate goes every time he comes. We sit down and we debate this. And he leaves with the whole idea is the people. And I still say it's the politician that create that particular situation, handout situation in particular via. When a politician comes, they are the ones who initiated this whole thing and pulled you into that.
Yeah.
Now you get addicted to that and you start doing it. But he was the first one who initiated it. So this is why I stick to say, well, look, boy, he's a politician, man. He created this whole going on here. Even though the people now, they follow it. Some of them don't know any better. And some of them because of hypocrisy and all that. So the people need to play their part and the politicians need to do what the people elected them to do.
I hear what you're saying, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, in that argument, I'm with your friend. I believe at the end of the day, the people have the power.
Yeah, they do.
The politicians are the servants.
Yes, they
and
do.
Because they're in a position to take advantage by giving you like a handout here and doing nothing. At the end of the day, it's the witnesses of the electorate.
Yeah.
The people not holding them to a higher standard.
True.
Or think because they get a little. I'll tell you one individual. I'll tell you the person name. That same guy move over. Yeah, one time I was telling him after the 2012 election, we see the corruption going on down at the convention. He said, yeah, I see it. But listen, boy, things so hard out there. I'll take anything I get, even if the politicians clean off the table and they just leave me crumbs.
Heaven help
Just
us.
3%,
Yes.
1%, 2% of the crumbs left on the table. I will take that.
Yeah,
So
well,
you
this is
reduce
a-
yourself to a vermin.
Yeah,
And the
understand.
vermin cannot go in and make the best choice for himself or his family or for the country.
Yeah.
He's just taking whatever scraps
That's
that are
right.
left on the table.
Yep, that's
So
right.
how can you argue with somebody with that sick mentality?
Yeah, very much so.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Another thing too with the people, because some of these people live in fear of victimization, because our political system has gotten to such a degrading particular way of how it goes, is that you don't support me, you don't get what you're supposed to get within our society. Whereas we are not representing you the way you are supposed to be represented. You see, and that living in fear too have some of the people doing this. So this is why I'm just so little sympathetic to the people themselves. But again, you are so right. The power on election day is what they're not utilizing there. Absolutely. So we need, the people need to recognize that they are more powerful within the whole system than that what they think they are. They need to continue to their lives in a proper way and the way how it used to be. All of a sudden, I'm just wondering where the changeover took place, where people doesn't recognize now that the leadership matters, representation matters, and it's not just a little handout that will last you for a couple of days, and then you live for another 4 years and plenty of months, in hardship and all this. To me, the people are not really recognizing this, and that's what they need to recognize. As I said, they need to continue their lives the way how they're accustomed to it from way back into time. During our campaign, we have gotten some history lessons of what it used to be, what the branches used to do, or that is same area where we are going to do, put that community center. We have that, the people telling us what used to be there. A school used to be there, and it used to be, so that whole parcel of land has so much, different values, a different even just money value. This is it's a value of a piece of land to what went on there over the years. And to see that people don't even care about this. People don't care about what used to be and what's not. It's just a little handout is good enough for me at this particular time. We have to stop that there. The people has to stop that. By the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. And that's all. Ask the politicians to create opportunities for you that you can go there and sweat and take care of your family in a proper way and live in the conditions of your living conditions will be much better and all this. Your man give you $1,000, $500. How long you think that will last you? And that's supposed to be for 5 years. And let me tell you something. There's another thing as well. When a person pay you for their vote, they don't owe you anything after that, not even hard work. You are not even capable of going out there and say, look, man, you are not doing what you're supposed to do. You already been paid. So to come and tell me if the man give me something, I mean, I vote for this, and this is a foolish way of thinking. A society cannot run like that. You have to demand that the politician do what you elected him to do. And then you start from there and you're getting somewhere. Not that a man give you a couple of dollars and then that, and that's a hush mouth dollars. Because after he give you that money, you don't dare go out there and criticize him. You already been paid for it. If you do that, you're a hypocrite because you've been paid and then you're criticizing, and you went to vote for a man that you're going to end up criticizing because you know that it wasn't a good choice in the first place, but you've been paid. So you made that choice, and we need to stop that. You need to get out of that sort of a way of thinking. That mindset is not right at all. Opportunities. This is what you need: your politician, your representative, to create opportunities for you that you can go there and make a meaningful contribution to this country and to yourself. You can go there and you have a proper job. There are certain things that you can get involved in that can enhance the living of you and your family. This is what's necessary at this particular time. Not no handout and allegiance and all this. You need to stop this allegiance thing. Oh, my family was with this party for how many years? Yeah, but the party is not the same party anymore. It's a completely different way of thinking. The people from the party, as a matter of fact, you have persons that come over from the next party that you've been voting against that now ends up in your party, and you still have allegiance to that party. Tell me how does that work? It is not right at all, and the people have to recognize this. And I do hope that come the next election, the people will realize that the path that we are going down and where it's taking us, and make the necessary choice, the right choice in terms of looking at the candidate and see who that candidate is. And there is nothing else is important. They're not you, the person. You cannot vote in a party. You can only vote in and help to vote in the person who decided to be the candidate in your constituency. Now you will have to look at the best choice for your constituency and make that contribution. You are to vote for the best choice. You can't just decide, well, look, and that is not the right way of doing things. You can do it, but it's not the right way at all, because that's what you've been doing. You see what you've been getting. A few years ago, you voted in that representative for Rural South. Look at the Honorable Tika Lake, how honorable that may be, and see what he has done for you in that constituency. They haven't even seen him. The majority of the people tell us when we go there to campaign, look, we don't even see this guy.
He's still around. What's going on with him? And this is what's happening within your constituency, and the people are not concerned. You have to wake up, man. Get concerned about your life and what's happening. Where do you think it's taking you? And what do you think is going to happen when you get there? You know, it's going to be even a more horrible situation.
So true.
Our economic condition, you see how that is. And it's getting tighter and tighter. And it simply means that the money that is not circulating, that's circulating elsewhere, is going to get smaller and smaller. And it's going to get tighter and tighter for you with no opportunity to get out of that. So this is why you have to demand opportunities. You know, they have to put things in place that you can get involved in and take care of your family properly. And this is not happening in Antigua. They promise you a bunch of jobs and a bunch of this. Put things in place that people can create things for themselves. And that's right. And this is what we are doing. We are setting up a community center that people can come to, and they can share ideas and you know, just somewhere down the road.
Themselves.
Absolutely. And this is what it's all about. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, please, man, help yourself. Help Antigua. Help your neighbor just by just doing the right thing and stop thinking about allegiance and all this. This allegiance thing have been hurting you for a number of years, and you still embark on that path. No, it is horrible, and it's something
a sad
that's
situation
extremely sad. Extremely sad.
You know what? If and when this community center comes off, and we, as a party, as an organization, as individuals who mean good for this constituency, can show the people what is achievable, what is possible.
Oh, yes.
I believe that is the only way. You know, we can talk the talk, but to actually show them this is the way how we conduct ourselves.
That's right.
Nobody's going to get stabbed in the back in this organization. Right. Nobody's going to hear that you can't run because you don't have enough money. Hey, suppose they told Papa Bird that.
Yeah, I'm saying, where would Antigua be at this time? Where would Antigua be? Yeah.
Suppose they said, Papa, well, you know, that was the law.
Yeah.
That was law up to, I think it was 51, we achieved adult suffrage, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because before that, it was up to that time, you had to be have to be owning land. You could only vote if you own land. You could show that you had land ownership, or you're of a certain class. You're white, you're European, you're English, right?
Yeah.
But suppose my poor grandfather, when he got into this political business, say he wants to run.
You have
for politics. He poorer than everybody. He probably poorer than Gilpin and Sharon, Kentish.
We'll tell you.
So before he started, he won't party and cut free throat and all.
Long time, man. Where would Antigua be at this time?
Where would we be?
Lord
in heaven save us, you
know.
But well, that's it, you know. We gone over time already.
We just started.
We just started, but it's
getting heated up, man.
Well over time. So we're going to end on that note. Just look at what would happen. The Prime Minister is telling Sharon, Kentish and Gilpin they don't have enough money to run on his ticket. But I'm asking the Prime Minister, suppose Papa Bird wanted to run in your ticket. What would you tell him? Because Papa Bird was a poor man.
Yeah, extremely.
Ladies and gentlemen, God will be back next week with another episode of True Labor Talks. Take good care. God bless you, and we'll be back soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
A buzzard took a monkey for a ride in the air. The monkey thought that everything was on the square. The buzzard tried to throw the monkey off of his back, but the monkey grabbed his neck and said, "Now listen, Jack, straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Ain't no use in diving. What's the use of diving? Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top." The buzzard told the monkey, "You are choking me. Release your hold and I will set you free." The monkey looked the buzzard right dead in the eye and said, "Your story's so touching, it sounds just like a lie. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Bree, bree, doo, bree, bree, doo, da 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 da. The buzzer told the monkey, you are choking me, release your hold and I will set you free. The monkey looked the buzzard right dead in the eye and said, your story's so touching it sounds just like a lie. Straighten up and fly right, straighten up and stay right, straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top. Straighten up and fly right, straighten up and stay right, straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top.